A society has a problem. It degenerates. If I am a student, I went to go to IIT, and after that, if there are problems in the society, how can we be blamed? What can we do? We have given everything to you to train you. If you cannot do, who else can do? Today, what Kalaari is, who would have imagined that? If that time you should have analyzed everything, say it's impossible. Have you made the impossible possible? जब किसी चीज को सिज्जत से चाहो तो सारी कायनात उसको तुमसे मिलाने की साजिश में लग जाती है. If I look back and say, was this doable? No. But जब कायनात साजिश करती है, हो जाता है. We will fail and we will get up, fail, fall, get up and do it again. The way China is accelerating with mastering the technology, nothing against China, but India, which is a large nation, cannot become dependent. So everything is ready. And yet, we are barely walking when we should be racing.
Your advice to investors and founders who want to be part of nation building? Professor, this conversation you and I are having is part of Kalaari's Changemaker series, and you have been perhaps born changemaker from the conversation we have had. And changemakers are people that create a magnitude of impact that keeps compounding itself and paying dividends for a long time. And obviously, while that can be measured in financial metrics, it's measured also in social progress. As you said, incentives are not always financial. So I think of you as an epitome of change maker. I don't know what that word means to you. What does being a change maker mean to you? To me, it means someone like you, okay, who thinks larger than life, who's fearless, creates a large impact that many people benefit from, and society moves forward. To me, that's what is the definition of a change maker. And do you see yourself as a change maker, and how do you define this word?
I do not know. Frankly speaking, these things never come to my mind that I am a change maker. Or for example, another title people have given me, Dronacharya. Yeah, I've been a teacher throughout my life, so teaching is a part of it. But then there are so many teachers. I also feel that, take for example, change maker. There are a whole lot of change makers who have worked with me. Maybe I get more limelight. Maybe I stand in the front. But there are a whole lot of people who have worked. So the only thing that I will say is that when difficulties come and we fail, I do not give up and say, no, we must do it. Back to my grandfather's thing that if you cannot, then who else? That's the only thing I will sort of say. I'm stronger probably than others. Others, every single thing that has happened, I've seen hundreds and thousands of people have worked very, very hard, many, many times to be able to do things. I probably have been a spokesperson.
So what allows you to take up things that people say no to, and how can others like me, regardless of our age, do the same?
That brings me to another story. I had just got into IIT as a student, IIT Kanpur I was going to go. My grandfather, who used to live in that village in Bihar,
Selling wholesale cloth,
he called me and asked me I must come to see him before I go to IIT. And he was very proud that I was going to IIT.
Mm.
I went to him and he told me a very interesting story.
Mm.
Way back around 1955, when or 54, when Nehru announced that he will set up 5 IITs.
Mm.
The followers of Gandhi, my grandfather was, under Vinoba Bhave, had a little bit of not very sure what Nehru is trying to do.
Mm.
We had fought, according to him, for an egalitarian society.
Mm.
And he is trying to bring an elitist society.
Mm.
Is it right? They went to Vinoba Bhave, he's their leader. Vinoba Bhave said in his typical style that go and discuss with elders in your villages and meet me after 2 months. And there was a meeting that took place. And in that meeting, they came to conclusion that Nehru was right. So I asked my grandfather, how did you come to the conclusion? You had fought for egalitarian and here is a highly elitist society. He says basically the argument was that any society requires certain elitist institution. And they mentioned Nalanda and Takshashila. They said they were the ones in which the best warriors with best teachers, with best resources, without being disturbed by what is going on in the society, they have provided, these institutions were created where the best minds or best abilities are trained. And we believed that in independent India, Nehru was trying to do the same thing. I said, but what? They said these best are supposed to be the leaders. You need to train the leaders. So, but I asked question, but how do you know it will really succeed? How do you know IITs will succeed? He said the way Nalanda and Takshashila went about, that after having done that successfully training, if a society has a problem, it degenerates, then Nalandas and Takshashilas are blamed. I said, but then how can, if I am a student, I went to go to IIT and after that, if there are problems in the society, how can we be blamed? What can we do? He says, with the best resources, best teachers, best environment, best students, we have given everything to you to train you. If you cannot do, who else can do? He said, this is what we understood should be the motto of IITs. That if there is any problem in the society, you have failed. Because if with best resources, best this thing, if you cannot do, who else can do? And he personally asked me that one thing, you will graduate one day and you need to have this, that you'll never accept. You'll never say, but what can I do? If there is a problem, you'll face it head on, and you have been trained to and given all the resources to overcome that problem. You can't say, but what can I do? I don't think I understood it at that time. I forgot about it. But I remembered he had said something. After I graduated from IIT, I went to US, came back. And when I came back, somehow I remembered that he had said something. I joined IIT Madras as a faculty. I went back to him. He also didn't remember exactly, but then he somehow recalled and he told me, you have to take ownership. You cannot say, but what can I do? I think that has been the motto that has driven me. And therefore, I'll say yes, whether it's knowledge, lack or not knowledge, I do not accept that it cannot be done.
So, my takeaway, of course, is we always hear the cliche, with great privilege comes great responsibility.
Sure.
But you have lived that responsibility, and I'm very proud that you've
But
done
I
that
did the
for all
same
of
thing
us.
with you. When I went to US and asked you that you should come back to India,
I know.
I don't remember, it was 2006 or 7 or whatever.
I know.
And it was the same thing, that you have the responsibility.
And
You
in
have
fact, I
been...
met you when you were thinking of building that first.
Yes,
I came
yes,
to your
yes,
house and met you when
yes.
you were building this IIT Research
Yeah.
Park, and you had just started building it. It hadn't.
But I'll turn it around and sort of say, today what Kalaari is, huh? Who would have imagined that? If that time you should have analyzed everything, say it's impossible. Have you made the impossible possible? And as far as I'm concerned, it is not that you are somebody extraordinary. It is a zeal in itself that I have to make impossible possible. That insight, that's what I saw when I met you in US through a friend. And I said, you do this, come back to India.
Somehow your energy is unabated. So, two questions there. How do you decide where to pour your energy, which you have in abundance? But secondly, is there a principles of life that has given you this, fountain of energy that we could all copy?
So, fountains of energy comes from a little success. Every little success. And success does not mean venture success. If, let's say, this person is going somewhere wrong, I spend enough time. And as a result, I'm able to help the person move in the right direction, and the person feels confident. The person was very low, and suddenly the person feels enthused. Of course, that person has changed. This also adds immense amount of energy that you can do this. So from every little transformation, every little success of all the people that I work with, I get energy. The guiding, motivating principle is, does the society need it? Does the country need it? And back to that same question that my grandfather said, if you cannot do, who else can? So this is one. The other is on every single thing. The day I sit down, I have not understood something for quite some time. It was troubling. But somebody comes and explains to me. Even the little bit understanding of that gives you positive energy.
But you also have a very austere lifestyle too.
That I had to adopt.
You
That also.
sleep, eat, write, all of that too.
That discipline has started long back, and from very interesting background. Somewhere when I was a student in IIT Kanpur, probably third year or fourth year, by that time I grew up. Till I was in school, I thought everything was great in society. In this, I had only talked about how to make my family, larger family, joint family, do better, or my community do better. And in IIT, 3 years, 3.5 years, I saw a lot of things were not right in India. Suddenly, the reality of where India is vis-a-vis the world seeped in. That's the time, somewhere, the commitment to work for the nation came in.
So you had your Siddhartha moment.
That's the time. So when I was probably 20 or 19 or 20. And I remember one day that some elder to me, who was also motivated in this manner, one day talked to me and told me that what you are trying to do is not a short-term task. It's a 25-year task. You will have to spend the next 25 years to transform the nation. It's a different matter that I've spent 50 years since then.
I was going to say
but
that.
25
He was
years.
off by 50%.
Anything takes that long. The question is, he's asked, do you have the will to do it?
Stamina.
I said yes. But do you have the body? Do you have your environment to do it? And this was the best talk to him. He said, what are your family obligations? And distinguish between obligations and desires. But desires can be unlimited. Obligations are your obligation. They are reality. You run away from obligation, you'll never be peaceful, you'll never be able to achieve anything. Somehow ensure that you'll meet the obligation. Next, we talk about your health, my health. It says your body, your this thing, where you get unwell every 4 or 5 days will not do. You need to somehow get your body fit, your mind fit. These things have stayed with me. And I will say even my discipline in my personal life is driven by the fact that I've taken up that task. In fact, sometimes my wife says that yes, that has put you so focused and you are doing this. If you really fully retire, I don't know what will happen. She said, don't retire. Go.
I don't think you will retire. I think if you were to do that and spend time on Chennai beach, you would have
For
done
example,
that
I
long time
start.
back.
I every morning, it doesn't matter. Yesterday, I had to catch up a 6:45 a.m. flight. I got up at 3 a.m. and exercised for 1 hour before I started getting ready.
Definitely should be a lesson to every youngster who says, and every founder who says, I have no time. Ashok, it is one thing to conceive of this beautiful campus, which seems to me a Herculean task by itself, that you did it in 2008. But it seems almost like a impossible dream to think that in 2008 we could actually start deep tech companies that can compete globally out of this space. So, what gave you the conviction that we can create deep tech companies out of India? Because it's not just the research, it also has to be founders who can execute and scale.
Frankly speaking, I'm a risk taker. So the most important thing is, number one, does India need it? Number two, do we have the basic elements? If you have the basic elements and India needs it, one has to do it. One can fail? Sure. I'm ready to take the risk. But one works very hard. Learn from every small failure, and a lot of small failure takes place. To keep persisting because the society needs it, a nation needs it. If that is your mission, then everything starts falling. I mean, there is a saying, this Hindi film, Nine, जब किसी चीज को सिज्जत से चाहो तो सारी कायनात उसको तुमसे मिलाने की साजिश में लग जाती है. If I look back and say, was this doable? No. But जब कायनात साजिश करती है, हो जाता है. So I think that's it. We would not accept, we will fail and we will get up, fail, fall, get up and do it again. That's the major thing. And we had all the elements. We realized that we will need industry. We brought in industry. We needed startups, and we brought in startups. Faculty we brought in. We created that ecosystem and said, let's take up the challenge.
I'm taking away an important lesson. If it needs to be done, and you believe it needs to be done with all your heart, you'll find a way to get it done.
Yes.
I think that's a very good lesson for anything in life, isn't it?
Yes.
So I'm very inspired by that lesson. Professor, can you talk about some of the companies, technologies that have been birthed here at this research park that today obviously have created significant impact?
Let me tell you, start with something somewhat small, but has made a huge impact. I was invited to an award function as a chief guest in PayPal. And I went there, and in the city only, and I gave the award to two youngsters who were considered by PayPal as the best software developer
Mm.
in the company
Mm.
for last several years. So while giving the award, I kind of talked to them a bit. I think I noticed something in talking.
Mm.
I noticed that they were not able to speak very well. I told them, why don't we meet when we have tea after the program? And I did meet them. And it was true that they could not speak English very well. And I started trying to find out what more from them. They actually came from a village in Tamil Nadu. They had all their education, including the engineering education in that district, and they knew no English
Mm.
before they came to Chennai. And they said that everybody told us that you cannot be a software developer if you don't know English. And they said they did struggle. They came, they started learning, and they realized that English and software development has no connection. And they were good, they managed to do good well, and they were given the award. So it appealed to me quite a bit. And then they kept on saying, sir, but we are bored at this place.
Mm.
So now the software work for some time, the challenge today is very routine. We don't want to continue working. I say, then what do you want to do? He said, there are a large number of people like us in India who come from vernacular background, Tamil, Hindi, who do not know English well in the villages and even in towns. And everybody tells them you'll never succeed, you'll never do well, you'll never be a good software developer because you don't know the English. We will like to set up an NGO and train the youngster in their own languages and make them a good software developer. I said, looks good idea. Why don't you come to my home? So that Sunday they came. They spent about 4 hours. My first thing that I did was, so I related to that because my own English was very poor when I grew up, and much, much later I learned English. So I related to that. The knowledge and success has nothing to do with language per se. It helps having a good command for English, but it is not conditional. And if we can teach them, train them in some other way, then things can go much better. But I told them that I do not like this idea of NGO. You want to do it as a company. And they initially were very reluctant, saying that how? I said, no, there is a bit there. You can create a business model. You can succeed. And they did set up a company called Goovy.
Mm.
It struggled for 2-3 years, the concept itself. Somehow they started going to colleges in small towns, in places where people did not know English, and trying to get entry to be able to teach enough people. And they're almost 3 years down the line, one day they kept on saying, sir, we have tried enough. I don't think we will be able to go very far. But fortunately, next week, they got their first order, and then they kept on started. Then they became a big company and was finally taken over by HCL about 3 years back. The important thing that they have trained in 4 or 5 Indian language, hundreds of thousands of people, and they made their life.
Mm.
So there is a very important, of course, in terms of revenue, in terms of other things, they have done well, but I think far more, they have had a very, very big impact.
Mm.
So this is one of the company that I will talk about came from here. I personally nurtured them. I helped them stand up, and they have done. But there are many companies. Of course, today everyone knows about Ather.
Mm.
Hmm? When they said that they will make electric bike, it was not even, I used to work in that area. And the other important thing that I want to point out to you, I find that though we are teachers, it is not that the teachers know and the student do not know.
Mm.
I have always found that these youngsters or students know, collectively they know much more than we do.
Mm.
So in fact, while we teach them, they also teach us.
Mm.
And if the teacher has a humility to learn from their students, then they continue to remain updated. So I remember that a lot of early things about battery design actually I learned from the founders of uh,
Ether.
Ether.
Mm. They were
Swapnil.
students at IIT?
Swapnil. They were students, they graduated, they started, and he taught me.
Mm.
And we in turn, then after that, once you get to know, then our experiences at all matters. But why will you do this and all that? That company today has made such a strong mark. It cannot be done, it can only be large company. In auto sector, they have become the premium two-wheeler company. And they'll keep going up.
Where then does the core science emerge, and what role currently India should play in core science, which we will not see any useful potential or applications for next 20-30 years? So role of core science versus application engineering, if you will.
I think this dilemma, putting it in a counterposing manner, doesn't help. My feeling is, in a place where you solve the problem, you also grow core science, basic sciences. You are creating an atmosphere where basic sciences, even if 15 years, 20 years down the line, will help us solve problems, will be nurtured, valued, and all that. When you are not able to take it all the way, then things are broken. In a broken situation, even this is sort of say, oh, what's the use? What are you trying to do? Anyway, even neither today nor 15 years down the line, you'll be able to make an impact. And I'll take an example. I remember I was in the State Bank of India board, and we had just started we had actually got this OTP done, one-time password, as a security for credit card, for electronic banking rather than cash transaction. And we had figured it out that OTP will help us remove the security risk, because we were told that security risk would be too high otherwise. And since I was part of in that, people were congratulating me, and I said, well, this is very good, but this is only the beginning. And we are just starting to get mobile phone. He says, my dream will be, from one mobile phone, we should be able to transfer money to another mobile phone. Even to a vegetable vendor, I should be able to pay 10 rupees. People smiled. Impossible. Somebody murmured. But
here we are
you
today.
Go ahead. You go ahead. We created a Mobile Payment Forum of India. I was a founder, chairman of Mobile Payment of Forum of India, the chairman for 6 years, from 2006 or 7 to 13. And we conceived of how payment can be done instantly, and even a 10 rupee payment could be done. And everybody said it's impossible. But once we did that, whole lot of even basic things in terms of finance, what can be done, floodgate has opened. That work is respected. Fortunately, of course, we don't have to wait for 15 years. In few years, as we strengthen and solve our problems, even putting a functioning society can put certain percentage of resources for not just basic science, but even arts, even all other sector, music. We have always respected arts, music, etc. So we are sitting in Chennai. So I think a dysfunctional society will start cutting these things out. A functional society will recognize the value of these farmers.
All the holistic things that make a difference to living. So, Professor, for India to become that product nation and a global, say, deep tech hub, become that innovation engine, what will it take? What should we do to achieve this vision?
This morning, Chris Gopalakrishnan was visiting me, and he was raising the same question. One of our concern is that we have relatively little time now. The way world is moving, things not happening correctly, a lot of things collapsing, a lot of things going wrong, and the way China is accelerating with mastering the technology. Nothing against China, but India, which is a large nation, cannot become dependent on outside. Even more today, that realization is stronger than it was there even 5 years back. That India has to stand up. Otherwise, India will be beaten badly. So I'll say the kind of dream or task that I started with, it has become even more important today. And the good part is we have the ability. I think when we started in terms of technology, we didn't have the resources, human resources. Today, our academia and R&D personnel, there are about 150,000 such people around the country. And many of them are very good. So they are ready. Our youngsters amazes me. Coming from all kinds of background, all region, coming from small colleges, they are very good. Industry, yes, still parts of industry is not as strong. Part of industry looks for some quick solutions, quickly making money rather than the hard grind. But there is enough of industry which has learned that you require hard grind. So in some sense, all the resources are ready. I will say some of the events that are happening in the world where India is unfairly getting beaten up also has created a little bit of feeling that we must stand up. So everything is ready. And yet we are barely walking when we should be racing. That's what is required. What am I going to do? I'm going to keep running, trying to push this, but I think it will require a lot of us to just speak out that we cannot crawl. The government has to get aligned. Some extent they're aligned. So I think the ANRF fund, RDI, all those things are showing. And yet, it is not going full-fledged. And probably at different times it should have been all right. But not when everybody else is racing ahead. So, again, they have venture capital is there today. There are enough success stories. There is enough in India to race. Getting the act together is the most complex task, and each of us have to play a role. I would only say that we will get it done. That's the only confidence that I have. We'll mess up a few things, and we are messing up, but we'll get it done.
Your advice to investors and founders who want to be part of nation building over the next decade, 2 decades of the challenges and opportunity that India represents?
Start with investors. Of course, large country, large this number of people, very rapidly growing GDP. That is the base condition. Coupled with the fact there are a lot of people who want to push for change and are ready to work very hard. I will sort of say that large number of people who are brought in lower middle class want to go to middle class. From those who are born in middle class striving hard to go to upper middle class. That is so strong a desire in India. Actually, that is what makes ventures here far more profitable than anything else. that will create a large number of ventures. So the investors all say, I will rather say, close your eyes, irrespective of what else happen. India will grow. If you are able to be part of this growth, you will benefit. That's the investors. I don't particularly have a message for founders, because I just pointed out that those who are born in lower middle class, their lives, for large majority, 80-90%, I will somehow push myself into middle class. And those from middle class want to go to upper middle class. That push itself creates founders. Some small, some large. And fortunately, far more help is there. Earlier, it was not easy to reach. One thing that internet and social media, etc., has done is that you can connect and you can get there. So if you are willing to work hard and get there, you will get all the opportunities. So in that sense, today's India is better placed than ever before.
Well, there are two things that I take away from our conversation. One is live with purpose and live with humility, which you embody. And the motto that you mentioned, which by the way also uh, uh, is a famous quotation, which is, if not you, then who? And if not now, then when? And you have embodied that spirit as well. Professor Ashok, I have a few rapid fire questions for you.
Sure.
We'll go through these quickly. What's one thing you never skip in your day-to-day routine?
Exercise morning, first thing.
3 a.m. exercise if need be.
Not
you
3.
said.
I normally do it at 5 for 1 hour. That includes the exercise, that includes a little bit of, I would say chanting, but I remember everyone, while I am doing my exercise, I remember everyone in my family, every teacher of mine. I actually, one by one, people who have close friends and have contributed to me, I actually have a whole list of
Gratitude.
some kind of, but while I am doing my own thing. So that I never miss. That if I miss, there is a problem.
So you work with innumerable number of founders. Scale too early or wait too long. Which of these mistakes hurts the companies most?
I think both hurts company, and I've seen everyone doing both. It is only a matter of what time they do both. And one thing that I've told the founders that I work with, that I'll advise you, but it is your call. I will not be offended if you do not agree, listen to me. But it becomes very important because the founders you are dealing are very often 24-year-old. They almost start feeling that, oh, if I'm telling them they have to do that. So I have to be very careful because I'm wrong as quite often. I won't say as often as I'm right, but fairly significant percent of time. And they have to take the decisions.
There's always this, again, dilemma founders have. Persist with a vision they have or pivot from their learnings. How do you calibrate how do you calibrate this for founders?
Well, again, if you don't persist, you don't get anywhere. And
No,
if you
persist
don't,
with the
but
same
if you,
thing.
if you don't pivot, you
Yeah.
don't succeed. So I think again, it's a question of how long do you persist and when do you pivot. And there's no standard answer. It varies from situation to situation. And you have to do both. You have to persist and you have to pivot. Anybody who misses out one of this will get nowhere.
You get sidelined. is there one or two technologies that's super critical today for India to ensure they have a lead?
I believe that you need to be able to utilize all these technologies to solve your
Real world
problem.
problems.
All these technology. Beyond that, are you best? Are you less? I'm not able to figure out that. Technological race, I am not able to be part of that. But solving problems, yes.
You are a professor now, almost by birth. You've done this for so many years. So you're a professor, you're a mentor. What is the advice that people come back and thank you later? So we can all adopt it here and now.
Well, I'm a hard man.
Uh-huh.
And
But you're also a kind man.
yeah, I mean, it's like you. To me, every entrepreneur that I mentor or work with are my kids. Particularly, the age has made it so easier.
Yeah.
But they are kids,
Yeah,
my own
yeah.
kids.
Yeah, I
So, to
understand.
your own kid, what do? You love them. And from your love, you have to be hard at times. So, I think if you are not hard, you are not doing the right thing for them to win. If you don't love them, then anyway,
you are
not shouldn't even be there. So you really have to care for them, and you have to be hard. And most people realize that.
Maybe
so
later.
The hard time things, they come back. They in fact tell stories. They laugh at it. They make fun of it. That you did this beating to us, and that changed things.
So thank you for doing this Changemaker series. I really appreciate your time, your candor, your commitment to the nation. And as you know, I've always been an admirer, an inspired person, and considered you a friend and a mentor. But I want you to have the last word. So please, anything we have missed, anything you'd like to share, anything you'd like to say?
The only thing that I can say is that the biggest strength is the love and affection that you get from the people whose life you have made. It is a very large number. I'll say students, and far more the founders of company. They feel that I helped them when they needed help. That's one thing that keeps you going, probably day in, day out. Second is little changes that you have been able to bring to the society. Of course, for example, today a telephone reaches everyone, and I'm so proud that in India we are able to do this. Is it always the best thing? Is it not misuse the internet? That's a different problem. All right, you do solve a problem, you create some others, but I think it's a great honor to be part of this journey of the society, of the nation, and the people who have worked with you, people like you who have worked with us. I think that keeps us going. Thank you very much.
Thank you.